Dear students, this is Mageshwari, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of English from St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Cuddalore. This video is for the paper Journalism and Mass Communication. In this video, we are going to discuss what is report writing. The reporter. The reporter is in touch with life every day under all sorts of conditions. It is his duty to go out to see, find, hear and know about the latest events and happenings and then write about the same in his newspaper. The newspaper today is a reflex of the day-to-day life, and this reflex is made possible through the stories of the reporter. It should be the duty of every reporter to make his copy pulsate with life and full of interest for the readers. A reporter must appreciate the importance of having a good reputation for absolute reliability. The most important thing is that he should be efficient and prompt in turning out his copies. By observing these principles, every reporter can make his path smooth and trouble-free. A reporter should have the ability to write good English or the language of his paper. He should obviate any possible chance to mistake and subsequent query regarding spellings of words and meanings. The reporter should type or write his reports clearly only on one side of the paper in double space so as to allow enough space for sub-editorial corrections. Sometimes a reporter may give headlines to the report, but generally the headlines are given by the sub-editor. Nowadays, the reporters usually type out their stories, but whenever a handwritten copy is to be filed, it must be written in ink. The reporter of a local newspaper occupies a unique position and he becomes quite popular with the people of his town. He reports the local events, functions, fans, social, etc. and comes closer to the social life of the town. A reporter should prepare a copy in such a way that it should not need much sub-editing. It should be so neat that it could be photographed and put in the paper as it is. The reporter should not forget to give the catch line into this copy. Every copy which goes to the printer to be said is given a catch line. A catch line is a key word. A catch line should be chosen very carefully. It is better to choose an uncommon word which may not resemble with another catch line. It is good rule to end the page at the end of a paragraph. Similarly, you should not continue a sentence on to the next page. Every newspaper has its own style which must be adhered to. Now let us discuss who is the chief reporter and other correspondents. The chief reporter has a team of reporters working with him. He holds discussions with the news editor regarding the coverage of news. He plans the special coverage of the expected news. On the basis of his planning, he allocates duties to the reporters. Many of the reporters are specialists of different fields like politics, sports, business, crime, etc. The chief reporter decides regarding the relative importance of the happenings in the city, which would covered and reported. He also receives a lot of government handouts, press releases, and other publications. Other kinds of correspondence. The liner. The liner is not a full-time journalist. He may be living in a small town. From time to time, he may send news stories to the newspaper. He is paid on the basis of the lines of the news stories published in the newspaper. He is only a part-time journalist, whereas he pursues other profession. Another kind is the stringer. The stringer is also not a full-time journalist. His whole-time profession is quite different, which he is doing in addition to writing for some newspapers. But he is in a little better position than the liner, because he is attached to a newspaper through a string on payment of small amount to cover his expenses. Next one is news service. National newspaper also have their own special news service. This news service is run by a chief of news service in consultation with the editor. The chief of the news service keeps in touch with its correspondents stationed in the country and other parts of the world. Feature writing. Generally, no name is given of the reporter who writes the newspaper report. On the other hand, usually a feature article is contributed by a named author. A feature is an article giving background information on certain events and personalities in the news. Nowadays, feature writing has become very popular in the newspaper and magazines. Features may be planned in advance in such a way that they are published at the time of some important event, for example, inauguration of some project or exhibition. It may be written after the death of an important personality or head of the state, giving his bio era and other achievements. The writing of controversial feature itself starts a very heated debate either through subsequent articles or through letters to the editor criticizing or appreciating the feature. This also brings out some known and unknown aspects of the personality of that person. A good feature writing is a journalist who can do much more than reporting the plain feature writing. Writing for the magazine. The main aim of the magazine is to inform, entertain, and influence its readers editorially. They also put before the readers advertising messages of national or regional scope. Generally, magazines are more national in outlook. Magazines have a specialized readership. Some magazines go to the press days or even weeks before their publication. The articles which are written in the magazines are carefully researched. Let us discuss types of magazines. News magazines, high class magazines, women's interest, men's interest, technical, house magazines. These are the major types of magazines. Let us discuss types of magazines one by one. First, the news magazines. These are periodicals which produces weekly or fortnightly. They are designed to summarize news and provide background information. They publish articles on news, situations, examine headlines, personalities, and other trends. Next one is the high class magazines. These are high quality magazines and are aimed at select audiences. They are different from the mass appeal, high circulation magazines as they appeal to a particular class of readers. Another type is the magazines of women's interest. These are obviously aimed straight at the women readers. They discuss about those topics and problems which concern only the women. They deals with women's fashion, food, problems, homemaking, etc. Another type is the magazines of men's interest. There are some magazines which produces only for the male readership. These primarily deals with sports, He-Man's adventures, men's fashions, etc. Next type is the technical magazines. These deals with special subjects like science, engineering, medicine, gardening, house building, etc. These magazines generally appeal to those working in trade, industry or profession. Another type is the house magazines. These are also called house journals. These are produced by companies, corporations, and other organizations for distribution to their employees, customers, and shareholders for free of cost. Next, we are going to discuss is freelance journalist. A freelance journalist is a writer who is not attached to any newspaper or journal. He fends or works for himself and is not on the regular staff or any organization. He retains his independent identity and can write for different newspaper or journals. His articles and features are accepted on the basis of their standard of writing. A freelancer must try to have good contacts with the editors of newspapers and magazines as well as with those who have the authority to accept his articles. He must have a systematic timetable of working. A freelancer should be careful that he does not send the carbon copy of his articles to the newspaper or the magazine offices because they would presume that he has already sent the original copy somewhere else. He must honor his commitments. It is essential for a freelancer journalist to build up his goodwill, because once he has built up his goodwill and he acquires popularity, then he can earn a decent living by leading an independent career. He has more scope and demand in magazine journalism than in daily newspapers because the magazines are generally understaffed and most of the articles and features which they publish are invited from outsiders. A regular contribution is called a column because it occupies a set space in a newspaper. Thank you.